Jeff, which strides do you feel like you guys made on Sunday?
I thought from an execution standpoint, especially on the back end, there was progress, especially considering the fact that, it was Elijah's first start of his career, still too new to our system. I thought Ashton took some strides. Isaiah, although there are some plays, obviously he'd want back and we'd want back. He made strides, and Bryce continues to progress. So I thought that was encouraging. I thought Quincy took another step in his progress. He is more and more looking like a real linebacker in this league, so exciting to see what he continues to become, because he's got all the stuff you can't coach, explosiveness, twitch, speed, all of it. And the defensive line, we just got to keep giving him more and more opportunities. Got to be better on first, second down to create more favorable third downs, so those guys can really let it rip. Haven't done that as well as we need to.
When there's plays that clearly there's just some poor eye discipline, how do you coach them up in that aspect to make sure that they'll be prepared for those situations and have better eye discipline?
You just keep showing it to them, keep demanding that they see it, and walk through it, drill it, practice it, and just put everything on repeat over and over and over again. And guys, they'll get it, Will it take time? Yeah, and it's painful. It's painful for you. It's painful for me. It's painful for them. It's painful for everybody. But sometimes it is the necessary scars in the process of growth, and that's not taking the stance that we accept that's okay, because it's absolutely not okay, and we'll continue to strive to get better at those things. But sometimes when you got young guys and experienced guys out there, there's some growing pains.
What do you say to JFM, or what did you think on that, roughing that there cost you guys?
Yeah, it's hard, just knowing JFM as I've gotten to know him. I know his heart. I know the man that he is. I know that he is a selfless human being that puts his defense before himself at all times. And he had a moment where there was a lapse, and you want to be aggressive, but then you also have to have a controlled aggression in those moments. You got to be able to pull back. He didn't. It was a costly penalty. It's one that obviously he feels horrible about. It's one that we can't do. It's from a collective standpoint, like, we understand as a defense that, like, you cannot hurt yourself in that way. Like, Coach Salas says it all the time. Like, more games are lost than won, and moments like that can hurt, and it did hurt. But it's not something where I've lost any confidence in the man. He's a guy that's gonna be a big part of what we do going forward. It's the reason that he got the contract that he did, and I can't wait for him to get back to doing a little bit more of what he does. I think one of his superpowers is his ability to rush inside, and reduce on those pass downs and pass situations. And unfortunately, just because of where we're at from an injury standpoint on the defensive line, he hasn't had as many of those ops as I know he wishes he had and we wish he had. So, but I love JFM, the man that he is, and it's something that will not go on. That's not going to be who he is. That's not going to be something that he does going forward. I know that. I have complete confidence in that.
With Quincy, he did some good things for you guys early in the season when he came in, and Jared comes back and he kind of goes to the bench. How did he handle that? And just kind of, what did you see from him? A young player might not handle that very well,
right,
going to the bench.
I think he handled it great. I think a big part of the way he handled it was he's got a model in Jared, when Jared was hurt and when Jared wasn't playing, when even this past week where Quincy took some of Jared's reps, Jared has been the ultimate pro, the ultimate teammate, take it in complete stride, never changed the way he worked, never changed his attitude, never changed his positivity coming to work. So I think when you see that, and that's your model, and that's the elderman in the room, like, you can't help but follow suit, So I feel like Quincy's starting to really figure out the process of becoming a pro and putting the extra time in, and he's meeting early with the guys, and he's becoming a lot more detailed in his preparation. His notes are getting better. His film watching is getting better. His routine is getting better. So, as all these things start to line up for him, you're starting to see a better product on Sunday, and I think we're all excited about what he can become.
You mentioned earlier, like quick twitch Ulbrich, all that stuff. What were some of the things about him that when you had a chance to get him, it was like, yeah, we want this guy in our defense?
Absolutely. Like when I was in Atlanta and he was at Murray State, I loved him. Like I fought hard to try to get him in Atlanta and for us to draft him. Obviously, it didn't work out. Spent a day with him, worked him out, the whole deal. He's got that stuff you can't coach. He's got obviously the athleticism, the explosiveness, the speed, and all that. He's also got instinct that's really rare. He can't always articulate what he sees, but he sees it and he reacts, and at the same time he's a hitter. Like some guys they understand how to unlock their hip at the point of contact, and the timing and all that, and the aggression that he has is really unique. So he's got some stuff. He is a guy that's so far from what he will become, not even close to being a finished product. So he's got a long way to go, and we're excited about him.
What are some challenges that Tyrod Taylor presents for your defense?
Gosh, I don't know if I beat Tyrod. He is an absolute pain in the ass because he's a guy that's he's got speed and athleticism, but he's got like a competitiveness to him. Like he embodies the be at your best when your best is required. Like he's a guy that when you need to move the sticks, he moves the sticks. And so, it's obviously we got to be great on the back end. They got guys in Cooks and some other guys with some speed and are going to stress us back there. But at the same time, from a rush standpoint and a contained standpoint, we got to be great with our rush lanes. We got to be great with our contained. We got to be great level of the rusher, all those things. So arm is definitely a threat. Legs are just as much of a threat. So, he's the true dual threat type of guy.
You mentioned Elijah Riley. Mm-hmm. What have you seen from him before that, and what did you see in that game?
He's got like natural moxie, instinct, feel for the game. He's been here for less than 2 weeks, and he's already got a real strong grasp of this defense. Does he have it? Not by any means. He's got a long way to go, but for as little time as he's been here, he's been able to really grasp it. You always look for that safety that's like the operator back there, that field general that can communicate, get everybody on the same page, help with anticipation and pre-snap indicators, and all the things that good safeties do, and I think he's got those qualities to him. He sees the game. He understands the game. And, as he starts to really learn this defense, I think his athleticism will unhinge a little bit too, and he'll be able to just go. And but another guy that we're excited about,
What kind of growth have you seen from Bryce this season? Paul?
Oh, a ton. Yeah, he's a guy that, just because of the lack of experience, you didn't know necessarily what you completely had in him, although we were all excited about the player, the athleticism that he has, the length that he possesses, the student, the worker, a guy that's like, he's committed to this game as much as any human in this building or coach. And so we were excited, but it was still this unknown entity in a lot of ways. And he's like, I told him this the other day, he's becoming a real corner in this league. A guy that we can rely on, a guy that we can, although we're not a big match team, like this past game was the first time we started playing with that a little bit. And he started playing on both sides and going with the star and the more he does that, and the better he plays, and the more he progresses, the more we'll utilize him in that way, because he's proven to be a guy that can really cover. It's exciting.
Why did you? Because it was kind of an issue the week before against Diggs that you guys didn't do that.
Right.
You didn't match corners and receivers,
Yep.
but you did it this week a little. What prompted that?
I think part of it was the fact that Eccles wasn't in there either. The beauty of Isaiah was. Isaiah's been the third or sometimes the fourth corner for us. So when you're the third or fourth corner, you're going to both sides all the time. Whereas with Eccles, being a young corner, a first-year corner, a rookie corner, it's like, in my opinion, you don't want to screw with that guy too much and start flipping him side to side, because I know that doesn't sound like a big deal, but for corners, it can be a huge deal, like going from different sides. So with Isaiah coming in the game for Eccles, it gave us maybe a little bit more versatility that way, And then Bryce is the guy that he doesn't prefer a side. Like, I know we had him on the left side majority of the time, but he's not a guy that's absolutely married to that side. So having Isaiah in there just give a little bit of versatility and the ability to do that.
Is that something that you may consider doing since they have Brandon Cooks, who's a pretty good receiver? And follow-up question on that is, what type of challenges does Brandon Cooks present for your secondary?
He's got gas, he's got speed, he can run the race route, the go ball, all the stuff vertical is a problem with him. He's a guy, though, that, like, will we match a little bit maybe on third down? But I think that he's also a guy that, like, regardless who's in there, whether it be Javelin, whether it be Isaiah, like, those guys possess really good speed too. Like Javelin especially, like, I think him and Jav are like carbon copies, stature-wise, speed-wise, the whole thing. So I don't know if it'll be as big of an issue this particular week.
You realize you said coaches aren't humans before, right?
What's that?
You said coaches aren't humans before. You said Bryce works harder than any human in the building, or coaches too.
That's right, we're not human. That's she just pins in my eyes right now from all the sleep I've had.